Hey guys, I'm Mike, and this is not your Mother's Day Fantasy League podcast. That is still a mouthful, but it gets easier every week. As always, I'm joined by Dave and Jason. Guys, how are we doing?
Doing good tonight, Mike. How are you doing? Ready to kick this weekend off, week number 5?
Yeah, it was a pretty good week. We don't really have a whole lot of drama going into this night.
Not a lot of drama going into tonight, but we did have a lot of drama and players changing players changing teams this week. Commissioner Nick came in, did an analysis of everybody's team, and the next thing you know, everything's a fire sale. With a lot of stuff going on and some teams moving, there's probably been more trades this week than the rest of the year altogether.
Yeah, there's a
That
whole lot going
is
on.
that is true. We had a lot going on this week trade-wise. So that's actually what we're going to start tonight's stream with. We're going to get into some of these trades that happened, I guess last week, but of course they fed into this week's kind of
Correct.
roster decisions because we don't have a whole lot of drama tonight. We have a little, we'll get to that, but let's get into these trades that happened.
Well, let's talk
So
about Mike. Let's talk about the first one, which includes you. You and Baltimore Gavin got a deal done. You got your linebacker Jordan Brooks, and the Ravens they got their quarterback back with Lamar Jackson. Tell us the thought process of that trade going down.
Yeah, this was not something I needed Nick's advice to know that I needed a legit linebacker. This has been a need of mine for quite some time. I thought I was addressing that during the draft when I traded you to move up and take Jack Campbell. He's not getting enough snaps yet, even though I think he could still be a very good player. So it was time, and it is very clear that my QB1 is the guy that just blew up last night, not Lamar Jackson. So I moved Lamar for a legit linebacker here. Now he is on an expiring contract, but I've got some options. I will have some cap room. It made a lot of sense for me. I would consider this a pretty fair trade. I got a slight pick swap out of him because I'm taking on more contract. But he also, well, contract now, he's taking on more contract in the future years. But I thought this was a pretty fair deal. It's kind of a win-win.
Yeah,
He
I,
got a
I thought I
quarterback
thought
he
it was a
desperately
win-win
needed.
for both of you guys. It was a good trade.
Um, yeah, so I thought so. So yeah, that was really the main motivation. I had two starting quarterbacks I didn't need, but I really needed some linebacker depth, so we went and got it. So that was maybe the Kickstarter for the rest of, or it was Nick's roster analysis. Either way, somebody had to get this trade train started, right?
And
So we're
Nick
gonna
did
move.
stir the pot okay. So next one was the Texans and the Browns. And this one was a mouthful if you end up watching it. Basically the Texans, they ended up getting wide receiver Tyler Boyd, T. Higgins, linebacker McDuffie, and Monty Rice. And I'll get to the draft picks in a second here. The Browns, and I do like what Dan is doing with his team. He went out and got himself a linebacker. He got a legitimate linebacker in Zaire Franklin in this deal. Got another wide receiver, Mims. I don't know what the heck Dan's going to do with all those wide receivers, but he's got a stable full of them. But he gave up 5 draft picks, a first rounder, 2 fourths, a fifth, and a sixth to the Texans to pull off this deal. I mean, it's a good haul for Texans, but I think Cleveland Dan's in it to win it. I mean, he's making some moves and he's making some noise in the AFC North.
I do like the upside of Marvin Mims. Remains to be seen how good that Broncos offense can actually turn out. I don't think we really know yet. But of course, the main motivation behind this trade for him was clearly to get Zaire,
Yep.
who is still the league's highest scoring player. And if you watch him play, you know why. He's just a ball hawk. He is everywhere on the field. Um, So yeah, Zaire really, really stepping up for that Colts defense, and he got himself a good linebacker.
Yeah, Dan's definitely in win now mode for sure.
I found it interesting, and poor Josh, he trades for T. Higgins the week he can't use him. Higgins was out this week, and so as a result, Mr. Jamar Chase finally earned his contract. Well, his fantasy contract at least.
Exactly.
Uh, it's amazing that he can be pretty pedestrian for several weeks and then just one amazing week, and now he's already scored more points than Justin Jefferson has on the season. So it doesn't take much, not when you got a talent like that. So all right, so moving on, we've got another. Do we call this a blockbuster or is this a clusterfuck? I'm not sure.
I think it's, man, I have to go. It's more on the cluster side than it is a blockbuster. I mean, I think if it was a blockbuster, you'd have big names going both ways. But this one just leaves me scratching my head, saying, what's going on in Las Vegas? And I guess what they say is whatever happens in Las Vegas needs to stay in Las Vegas, and I don't want any part of it. So to break this down, what happened here is Las Vegas Raiders Aaron, he ends up trading away DK Metcalf, stud receiver, tight end Conklin, linebackers Anthony Walker, and cornerback Miles Bryant. And in return, this is what the Raiders get, and this is where it starts to get tricky. They get running back Naeem Hines. They get a wide receiver Russell Gage, Deontay Johnson, both of them on the IR right now. They get a defensive tackle Lawrence Guy, and then a linebacker Devin Bush, Blake Cashman, and cornerback Kenny Moore. Okay, so you got some players. Well, then the 2 days after that, he ends up cutting the rest of them, or cutting the majority of them, for nothing but dead cap space right now. But I guess the one thing that Aaron, I think, is looking for was the draft picks, and he did get a haul out of moving those 4 players. He did get 5 draft picks out of it. He got a second round pick. He got a 4th, 2 5ths, and a 7th. So we got five draft picks for orchestrating this deal here. He puts him in cap hell right now.
He's not going to be able to sign anybody come next draft season at all.
Yeah. So questionable about what's going on, but man, I guess if you want to dump some salary, go talk to Aaron.
I guess, yeah. I mean, he dropped all 7 of those players. The same day. Yeah, that same night. So that deal goes through, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. All 7 of the guys he got in that deal.
Yeah.
And
gone.
two of them very well could have sat on IR.
Yeah, and Kenny Moore was probably overpaid as a corner. Unfortunately, they don't rack up the points like other positions do in our league. Very good player, but not a fantasy asset, unfortunately. But yeah, still worth rostering. I mean, yeah. Anyway, interesting stuff going on the trade wire here.
Well, Aaron was involved in another trade. Him and the Jags, they swapped coaches out, and Aaron was able to pick up a 7th round pick off of that. We'll hang on and see if he ends up cutting the Arizona coach Gannon for more cap debt problems. I don't know if he will or not, but I guess he's got that opportunity to.
I think you should make it more interesting.
Well, I mean, he's got to stay on brand, so I think he needs to immediately cut Jonathan Gannon. Should have probably cut him before this week's games. I don't know. So there you go. That was the real drama in the league leading up to this weekend's games, was all of these trades happening, which might have been from Nick's analysis of rosters. I just knew I had a need. and I am 100% convinced on my quarterback. So that was where that came from for me. Now I got to figure out how to extend the guy. But so let's segue into the only drama we have on Monday Night Football with the last move made here, where a one Dave picks
Shh,
up
shh,
Patrick Taylor
shh.
from the
Let's keep that
Packers.
quiet.
Now, Dave, why would you pick up a third string running back? Why
Well,
would one do that at 5:36 Monday evening?
probably because at the news at 5:30 of what I heard, where Aaron Jones wasn't playing and that they just signed him to get some garbage points tonight. I'm anticipating a close game tonight, and I'll have Jeremy go looking for points somewhere else.
Yeah, because that is our only drama tonight, guys. So at its surface, it may look like, okay, Jeremy's got a nice little cushion. He's up 31. They each got 3 players to go. But when you really dive into this, we don't know who Jeremy's going to have playing, because the main thing we're talking about here is that Aaron Jones is out tonight. And that's one of the guys he's got to have starting. He also has Devontae Adams, who is questionable. Now, I would think with the extra day of being able to get ready, Devontae is going to play, but he might be limited, might be very limited.
The question is
Uh,
like motivation too, with word on what's going on in Vegas anyway, with like players wanting out, that might play a factor into him playing tonight and not as well.
yeah, it's true. There's been some chatter about Devontae potentially wanting out, and the Raiders' play has not made that chatter go away. So yeah, he may just say screw it and rest. But he still has Max Crosby, and yeah, Max Crosby could get himself, he could have a Khalil Mack night, I suppose. Let's just make Dave shake just a tiny bit that
Let's
Crosby
not
could
even think about
potentially.
that.
Crosby could get 91 points in a night. But yeah, it's very possible Jeremy goes into this night with his 31-point lead and only one player play, which is really why this matchup becomes more interesting when you dive into it.
Hey, I do want to point something out. Seeing your screen here, the win
Mhm.
probability has me at 1%, and Jeremy's at 99%. If I could snapshot mine and send it to you, on my screen it says win probability is at 90% and Jeremy's is at 10.
That is so weird.
So I don't know what
Yep.
MDFL is trying to prove here, but I don't know what the bookies are doing, but they're telling me I've got a 90% chance on my side of the books, my side of the ledger over here.
That might be
I'm even
because you have what you have available left, I would imagine. Yeah, we can't see what you have.
Well, I can tell you what I have because I know.
Yeah. So go ahead and do that, Dave.
I've got a quarterback going in Jordan Love tonight. He's played good the first 4 weeks. This is the first time I've actually started him. I didn't start the good or bad Kirk Cousins because they're playing the Chiefs this weekend. And then I've got two linebackers playing, Diablo and Quay Walker both playing this weekend. So that's who I've got left. Realistically, Jordan's been putting up good points this year. And my two linebackers are putting up good points. So theoretically, I think I got a chance. But
You really do. Again, just by looking at the 31-point lead and 3 going up against 3, this legitimately could be 3 going up against 1, and one of them is your quarterback. And your quarterback has done very well. Jordan Love is putting up some numbers, and he's going against a very poor secondary in the Raiders. Max Crosby is going to be chasing him. Literally, your biggest fear is Max Crosby, literally and fantasy wise.
you are correct.
So, if he creates trouble for Love, yeah, it might be a rough day, but that secondary's got a lot of holes to throw into. Plus, he's getting Christian Watson back, so that's going to help a lot.
Good point there.
Now, the running game is going to be a bit suspect. So, Love might have to throw that ball 50 times tonight, which is advantage Dave.
Well, but he could also dump it off to Patrick Taylor, and I would be just fine with that.
No, you didn't end up? Oh yeah, as long as well, yeah, I guess it doesn't matter who gets the ball to you because yeah, none of that.
I picked Taylor up tonight just to do a little blocking. So,
I know you picked up Taylor, but you didn't have him starting. So,
well, I didn't have him
why
started,
would you?
but it keeps somebody else from starting him.
Yeah, there you go. But yeah, with Diablo and Quay Walker, yeah, that's legitimately 60 points right there. So the question is, and that's not even a stretch. Like, in fact, their projected
They're
points are
projected that.
probably. I was gonna say, I would think you said Love was projected 27. Those two linebackers are probably 14 to 17.
Yeah, currently, yeah, Jordan Love's projected at 27. Diablo's at 14, and Quay Walker almost at 20. So, 60, 61 points is what they're projecting, whether they hit their projections or not.
Ooh,
So,
It's gonna be
wow.
close.
It is going to be close. I mean, it really is going to come down to whether Devontae makes an impact or not, or whether he even plays.
now hopefully Jeremy's not listening right now and getting all this intel and going through the waiver list and trying to pick out somebody else that he could put in one of those flex players and get some points on me.
Well, we did just lose two viewers, so maybe he had to focus on who he was going to pick up. Uh, we can also keep an eye on the transactions here, can't we?
Yeah, my phone will tell me if that happens.
There you go. Nice.
Oh, there's your waiver claim.
Oh yeah, everybody knows how much. You can go back, you can pause, and you can see exactly how much I'm willing to pay for a certain player. Perfect. Good job, Mike.
So,
Don't worry, I'm gonna go change that now. So whatever number you saw will not be the same later.
You should do it as well again there on stream.
I'll bid one more dollar.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Anywho, so there you go. That's really our only drama tonight. It is Dave trying to fight off going 500. And really this is both guys trying to fight off falling to 500. But this is actually some pretty good drama. I thought you were dead in the water here, but
So, the interesting thing about this is if I do lose this game here, I will say that the AFC North will go 0-4 against the AFC East, who will go 4-0 this weekend.
oof.
So the
Wow.
Bengals, the Steelers, the Browns, and the Ravens could lose everything to the East this weekend if that happens.
Wow.
So I'll try to make it not a sweep, and I'll try to represent the
Okay.
AFC North.
So since there isn't a whole lot of drama, I don't think we'll spend a whole lot of time on these recaps, but that is why we're here. So we might as well talk about who's going to win and who's going to lose. I've got this wrapped up with a 105-point lead against Josh. The only thing that's a little crazy here is that I've got Dobbs and Jacobs going tonight, so my score could get pretty crazy if either of those guys happen to do anything. I'd love to pass up Dustin for the highest score this week. He's done at 385.75. So I don't know. It'd take a lot, but it would be fun to pull off. Josh, unfortunately, man, did not get the memo that St. Brown was not played.
Yeah, St. Brown was a late minute scratch, I do believe, like a game time decision.
Yeah. And he did start Fields over Trevor Lawrence, which was quite frankly a ballsy move.
Yep.
That was a ballsy play, and obviously it was the right one. Everybody saw how well the Bears did on Thursday night, but unfortunately for him, I had DJ Moore. So so Dave knows what being the brunt of facing DJ Moore this week was like. You said this is the only league you didn't face him?
Yeah, in my other fantasy worlds, DJ Moore, I'm going to be 0-3. Three other teams I'm going to play against each have DJ Moore, and they're whooping on me this week. So
I was just curious. I haven't looked at this
all right,
yet.
well,
I was looking at who scored the most this week. I gotta think DJ Moore's pretty high up there. Yeah,
No, Jamar Chase.
Only Chase passed him up in points this week. No
No, I
surprise
want to
there.
go talk about Zach Moss when we get a chance.
Ooh, that'll be fun.
Yes, right
Uh,
here you got Joey and Nick battling this game out, and for what it's worth, there's a side bet of $25 on this game, and
uh
Joey's up by 60, 50 points right now,
mm-hmm.
and he left Zach Moss on the bench with 40 some points. He had a chance to bury Nick this week, and he left
Yeah,
him on the bench.
I can understand being a little hesitant to start him with Jonathan Taylor back in the fold. Uh, but he also hasn't played any football in quite a while. It seemed like a stretch to think JT would get the majority of the carries right away. And Moss has really played well,
Moss has
but
played
that
very well.
he has played very well. So he got a little bit scared by the emergence of JT after signing to a contract. But it doesn't matter. He's going to beat Nick anyway.
That's right. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm not supposed to be biased about that, but good job, Joey.
I think you're allowed to be biased. It's okay. It's acceptable. This one again, both teams are done, and Dan, after really loading up after a couple trades here, is going to fall to Braxton, who got Achane in that lineup, and this guy, a measly 15 yards a carry is all.
So maybe Braxton's starting to look that A-Chain can actually produce for him. The interesting thing I found out in this game here, I looked at it. 1A, Zaire Franklin got him 24 points, so his new linebacker quickly, gave him dividends, led the team, that kind of stuff. But his quarterback play was a little questionable. So he's got 3 quarterbacks, and he chose to play Dobbs this week. And if he just plays one of his other quarterbacks, whether it's Goff or Russell Wilson, he wins this game.
Man.
So we got 11.9 and scroll down to it. Yeah, so see, even if he plays Russell Wilson and gets 25, that's 13 points there. That's enough to take the lead.
Yeah, I that's tough. I have to agree with something Nick said, and that is play your studs. You know what you're getting in Goff and Wilson. Now, Wilson's been a little bit hit and miss since he's been a Bronco, but you know what you're getting. Dobbs has played very well. But when you have those two guys, man, that would be hard to make the call to put Dobbs in over those two. Real hard. And I know the Bengals have been terrible. I picked the Cardinals to win in our pick 'em this week. The Bengals have been awful. So I get it. But man, yeah, you got to play your studs.
Burrow finally looking like Burrow again this week.
Yeah, finally. And Chase gets all the benefit of that in just 1 week.
All the benefits.
One game. Yeah. No T. Higgins, man. And, Braxton gets very little out of Dak here, who played miserably last night.
Does he have any other quarterbacks that he? Oh no, he doesn't.
Nope, he did not.
I said I would have started any other quarterback over Dak against the Niners defense.
Well,
when
we start getting these buys in, it's making some interesting moves and changing dynamics of the team. I mean, if you go to the Broncos game, Sean had it really bad with the buys. Pull up.
Yeah, he did.
Played the Jags this week and
started Trubisky. Just had to take a chance that he'd see some playing time.
But in reality, it's the correct play because Herbert couldn't play, and Winston ends up losing 0.4 of a point. So Trubisky didn't hurt you as much, but this is a bad week to have buys where you don't have a quarterback to play.
Yeah. Yeah, and Eric's team just kind of went off. Sam Howell throwing 51 passes.
We had Jamar Chase coming up with 59 points. Just ridiculous what Jamar Chase can do.
Yeah, 15 catches. Man, that was certainly that was coming. It was just a matter of time. So yeah, that one is over. Obviously, both of those scores are final. Going back to this one here. Yeah,
This one
this one's
here,
over
we
as
we
well.
we highlighted this one last week. This is for the bragging rights of Bristol's Main Street.
Mm,
You got the Red Bird versus Evans Cafe over there. And I think we talked about it last week that I think Rich was almost like a 100-point favorite, and he almost covered that point
He
spread
almost
there.
got there.
He almost covered it.
wow, I was trying to find what I did with that screenshot. I think I screenshotted that.
Well, I think when I looked at it today, I think the um, point spread was like 79 points. So the line moved, but you
Mm,
screenshotted it that it was like 100 points last week, which was ridiculous.
yeah, I think I did. Nope, wrong screenshot. It was out of hand. It was a lot. Like you said, it was like 100 or so. And yeah, he's about to cover that. Yeah, we talked about that one. Yeah, the lack of a QB is going to hurt him. And I think you're safe here, Jason.
Yeah, pretty safe. I don't remember what the line was against between me and Aaron.
Actually, Aaron was favored in this game, which I don't understand, by 13 points, and he's not going to cover that.
Oh no, absolutely not. I did start Samuel Curtis Samuel this week, so I will say I made a better decision there. But overall, I don't think I had any questionable non-starts except for maybe Josh Reynolds.
So
He's kind of borderline. He's one
Yeah,
to consider every week, probably.
it's either between him or Khalif Raymond every week, and it's hard to pick which
Yeah.
Goff is gonna pick for the week.
well, Jason, my question for you for next week, you need to start looking at this. What's Anthony Richardson's going to be out, getting a second opinion on his shoulder sprain there. And then you got Deshaun Watson coming off of a bye, off a hurt. Is he going to be able to play next week, or what's his status?
I'm hoping he plays. Otherwise, I'm losing next week for sure. Because I don't know if I have anybody that can go in. I have to look.
Yeah, you're going to be in a very similar situation as Sean was with his Broncos.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm definitely gonna have to chase down a quarterback on trades here.
Yeah, and I put myself in that same scenario by trading my other startable quarterback, but we'll see. We'll see how it pans out. I have not looked at who I face on the Niners bye week yet. We'll go to one last matchup here. This one is also pretty much yeah, this one's done. Dustin with the highest scoring team this week with 385. Getting a monstrous 49 out of Travis Etienne. His coming out party was in Germany. And then, yeah, 39 out of, yeah, he had with Etienne and Ed Oliver, he had 90 points before the other game started.
That's crazy.
Yeah. So,
And Jared's got one player left. It's either Zamir White or Jacoby Meyer. My guess is probably going to be Jacoby Meyer, but
that would make sense.
not good enough for 84 points though.
I don't think so. Not even Jamar Chase could pull that off this week. So there you go. So it looks like you're going to have 2 5-1 teams over in the West with me and Sean tied up and him losing his non-quarterback week. And then is it going to be Nick all alone at 4-2?
4-2, and unless I pull off an upset tonight, and then because I can see myself and Dan going to 3-3, and the whole AFC North losing.
It is looking that way, isn't it? So there you go. That is our recap of this week's games.
And,
Not a ton of drama. You just got to look to see if Dave, with his little sneaky little pickup today, blocking any Aaron Jones handcuff action, whether Devontae plays and getting a big game out of Max Crosby or Jordan Love, excuse me.
and a pick
So
six from Quay Walker would be really great.
there you go. Well, I'm rooting for any excuse for the Raiders to put Aiden O'Connell in, so that's what I'm rooting for. All right. So that being said, we now are going to jump to next week's games and see what we got there. So that's going to be week 6. So this one will be fun. It'll be me versus Eric's Jags. 16-point advantage me. That might be a little high. I'd give Eric more credit than that. Dustin versus Sean. Now that is a very good matchup there. They are giving Dustin an 18-point advantage there.
Mm-hmm.
Hmm.
Well, somebody's going to get a win next week with Aaron and Josh playing each other. And looks like the spread at 2 points is almost a toss up here.
That is definitely a toss up.
I mean, it is subject to change if Aaron starts cutting more players.
Will he have a legal roster by the start of next week?
Yep.
He might be starting draft picks by then. We don't know. It's not even legal, but he's going to be petitioning by next weekend, I'm sure. Yeah, Jason with a nice advantage over Jared for next week.
No, we'll see if I have a quarterback next week.
Well, that is true. Joey with the big advantage, according to MDFL, which, as we know, doesn't mean really a whole lot of anything. But once again, just for fun, I will screenshot these, even though I did that last week. I don't know where the heck it went, but I will try to remember this.
We'll see. We'll see how they change throughout the week after lineups get put in, and
yeah, exactly. Yeah, Jeremy with an advantage over Dan. Dan has done all of this reloading and finds himself as an underdog against Jeremy's Bills next week. I find that interesting.
Yep.
And then, wow, they've got Rich slaughtering you, Dave. How do you feel about that?
Well, I guess I'll play the way of the dog as long as my guys don't show up. You know, when you get a point and a half out of Devontae Smith, I guess that's who's going to show up, and I got to make a decision whether JT is going to play full time or not. What do I do with JT?
That's a tough one. I mean, as good as Moss plays, you can't just quickly okay, we're not going to use you anymore.
I agree, Moss. I think you run the hot hand right now, and that's Moss.
Yeah, I watched. I'll be honest. I don't always get to watch the Colts games. I have other stuff happening on Sunday afternoons. But I watched every snap yesterday, and JT looked rusty. He was very indecisive with the ball. Didn't know which hole to hit. He looked like a guy that hasn't played competitive football in a while.
Maybe his wallet was holding him down.
It could have been. He might have been carrying a couple G's in his back pocket in pennies, and that slowed him down.
It is funny to note that he was the one player that truly held out for a contract, and he is the only running back that truly did get that contract.
Yeah. And I said it before, I'll say it again here on the live stream. I've never been in favor of giving running backs large contracts because it has been proven that you can win without doing that. So I didn't think it was necessary. I thought Moss had played well. And then literally the day after they give him that contract, Moss just says, you can take that contract and you can shove it. And now I'm like, what? It's a good problem to have. We have 2 good running backs, but I almost would have just rather not have paid him the money and just He didn't want to play on his existing contract. Okay, fine. We got a guy playing very well right now. Let's see how well your standoff helps you with another guy who's easily replacing you.
Yep.
That's what I would have done.
I will say I do believe the Colts probably, as a Colts fan, watching them play the last 4 weeks before this last week, all 4 games were winnable.
Yeah,
All 4
they've
games
been in
were
every game.
extremely winnable. So maybe that's, ownership looking and saying, hey, maybe JT gives us that push for the South.
Maybe. I still fall back on the year that Taylor led the league in rushing. We didn't make the playoffs because of poor QB play. So uh, JT did not get us into the playoffs this year. Wentz laying an egg against the Raiders and the Jags got us out of the playoffs instead of JT playing us into the playoffs. So again, I asked how much of that contract is actually going to win us games. I don't think it's worth it in the long run. But at least he's young. He's still only, even though he played 3 years in college, at least his contract will be over before he's on the back end of his prime.
He turns
You
into
know,
Gurley with no
or or,
knees.
or Zeke Elliott, who gets a monster deal and then forgot how to run the football.
Only remembers how to eat.
Yeah.
Offensive lineman for the Patriots now.
Yeah, I mean, I hate it for running backs, like they're a lot of talented ones in the league. They do deserve to get paid more money, but from a business standpoint, I don't know that I want my team being the ones paying that money. So it's tough. It's a weird situation to be in. I would have rather just avoided all the drama. If they were going to pay him, they should have done it months ago.
Yep.
You know, I think they legitimately thought that he would play. And after he got off the pup list, he said, "All right, now it's time. It's put up or shut up. I'm not stepping on that field unless I got ink on a deal." And I think finally his strong arming uh, did them in, and they caved. Whatever. Anyway, uh, so that was my little tangent on the JT issue there. Not what we probably expected out of our stream, but it's a big deal. It's going to impact the Colts and obviously Dave's team. He's got a dilemma now. Like, when do you start JT? I don't know
I'd
that
give it
that
two.
is an
I'd give it
obvious.
2 more weeks. 2 more weeks and then start him.
2 more weeks, or when one of my flex players is on bye, that's when it's going to be. I don't have confidence in him yet. Not with the way that Moss is running the ball.
No, I think they'd be and Steichen. I really like him as a coach and what he's doing in our offensive scheme right now. I don't see him rushing JT back just because they gave him a contract.
I agree with that. Yep.
I think he's going to play his hot hand to try and win football games. And they have a lot of winnable games on the schedule over the next 3 to 4 weeks, too. So, yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how that plays out and how they ease him back into the rotation.
All right. Well, Mike, we got 6 minutes till kickoff here.
Yeah, we do. So we'll end this thing. You asked me about JT, and I got on a little bit of a tangent.
Well, I'm trying to be informed about JT. I got $22 million tied up in him, and I'm expecting some return on my investment for him.
Frankly, he looked very rusty yesterday.
Either that, or else he's going to be out of Pittsburgh.
Oh, wow. Well, he's a free cut still, sir. So
No, he's not. No, he's not. He's in his 4th year. It's not a free cut anymore.
Oh,
He's only a free cut if I trade him to Aaron.
Oh, I think we should make that happen. Let's pen a deal for Eric.
So,
well, the only way he's
Sorry,
going to do that is if he gives you 60 mil back. So you're going to have to find 8 players of his to take on.
I could probably throw JJ Watt in there with him too.
You're going to be trying to find a way to throw him into every deal for the rest of the season. He's been outed.
Hey, for $1 million, I'm going to take the opportunity to see if he wants to come back out of retirement or not.
Oh boy, he's gonna pull the Roger Clemens and wait till some teams in the playoff hunt and go, "Hey guys, I'm ready. Been in shape the whole time."
Yep. Works
Uh,
for me.
yeah. All right, guys, we will call it a night. This has been our week 5 recap of the Mother's Day Fantasy League. Any other parting shots you guys would like to throw out there?
Go Packers. Score a lot of points tonight.
Yeah, make it a fun game. Make it worth watching.
Yeah.
Some little drama would be nice.
Yeah, make it. Let's have a good game tonight. Because God knows Thursday or the London game is not going to be interesting. So,
All right, good luck, Dave.
Thanks.
And
Appreciate it.
thanks everybody that tuned in. We will see you guys next week.
See you guys.